enhancement and opportunities for strengthening of intergovernmental relations for effective governance of county government. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Council of Governors is also a central player in the management and governance of devolution. In this regard, the committee has held a meeting with the Council and deliberated on areas and opportunities of collaborations for effectively implementing devolution. The committee continues to engage the Council in critical aspects affecting the counties and looks forward to a successful working relationship in this term of Parliament. Foreign visit. Mr. Speaker, sir, in ensuring continued capacity building for the institutional strength and competence in execution of its mandate, the committee attended a training in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, from 14th on 22nd up to 22nd, 2023, which was organized by the Eastern and Southern African Management Institute, ISAMI. The training was important in acclimatizing members with knowledge and skills on effective governance and management of devolution and equipped the leadership capacity as representative of the people. Inductions and work planning retreats. Mr. Speaker, sir, in order to give the members a deeper understanding of the committee's mandate and to prepare them for the huge task in the 13th Parliament, the committee held an induction and work planning retreat from 5th to 8th February 2023 in Naivasha, which gave also the senators an opportunity to interact with its various stakeholders as well as identify areas of priorities for the term of Parliament. Consideration of reports on review and assessment of committee performance. Mr. Speaker, sir, for continuous improvement and effective performance on its mandate, the committee has considered a performance assessment and review report that was conducted by the Senate Liaison Office in collaboration with the Westminster Foundation for Democracy, which identified the challenges that were clawing back on the performance of the committee in the previous Parliament. The committee is taking robust measures to implement the recommendations made from the report, which shall enhance and strengthen its effective delivery. Consideration of the 2023 budget policy statement. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee considered the 2023 budget policy statement, the medium-term debt management strategy, on which it made critical observation and sustainable recommendations on the policies touching on the various fiscal challenges and risks that are facing the country's government, the county government. The committee has committed its report on the standing committee to the Standing Committee of the Finance and Budget and hopes that the committee takes into account its recommendation. Oversight the implementation of the Urban Areas and Cities Act number 13 of 2011. Mr. Speaker, sir, in line with the fulfillment of its mandate, the committee is determined that urban areas and cities in the country are governed and managed in the manner contemplated in Article 184 of the Constitution. To this end, have fulfilled the provisions of the Urban Areas and Cities Act number 13 of 2011. Review of devolved sector laws that should be aligned to the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, sir, to ensure that all the devolved functions are smoothly performed by the counties, the committee is in the process of identification of the laws in the devolved functions, of devolved sectors that existed before 2010 Constitution, which need to be reviewed so as to align to the Constitution. The committee has so far identified 79 laws in the different devolved sectors that need to be aligned into the Constitution as indicated here below in the table. 1, Land and Environment, 23 laws. Health, 20 laws.
Honorable Senator.
Yes, sir.
You're supposed to make your statement for not more than 10 minutes.
It's what is the I'm almost finishing.
Pursuant to Standing Order
it's almost
51.
Over. I'm concluding. Yes,
You've already overshot the runway. Kindly conclude.
Yeah, okay.
And table your
Let me forget about the table. So. And in total, I have 79 laws to be reviewed, actually. Mr. Speaker, sir, it's important that to note that this non-conformity of the devolved sector laws has been a huge clawback in the success of implementing the devolution as such. The committee believes that its report on the matter will help the other Senate committees to have these challenges looked into and mechanisms providing for a solution put in place. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, the committee plans to carry out the following key activities in this session. Session. Consideration of various legislative proposals and bills touching on devolution. A meeting with the Deputy President since the State Department of Devolution lies in his office. Oversighting the implementation of the Urban Areas Act and Cities Act number 13, 2011. Review of the devolution sector laws should be aligned to the Constitution. Review of the Intergovernmental Relations Act 2012 with the aim of making reviews on both relations between the national government and the county government. Finally, Mr. Speaker,
Let it be final.
sorry? Yeah,
Your
thank you.
statement.
Undertake county visits to ascertain the status of various issues that are under the committee's mandate, and e.g. ascertaining of the implementation of the county headquarters whose construction was being supported by the national government, regular retreats with the key stakeholders, other non-state actors, i.e. the Society of Clerks at the table, the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, the Katiba Institute, etc., to ensure maximum engagement and collaboration that will steer the success of devolution. The committee shall also undertake other activities that are generally aimed at strengthening devolution. Finally, I wish to appreciate the Office of the Speaker, the Senate leadership, and Office of the Clerk of the Senate for the steadfast support they have accorded this committee. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Chairperson Standing Committee on Education. Clerk, kindly time 10 minutes. Beyond that, let the microphone be switched automatically.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, though that will be disadvantageous to me. I want to make a statement, Mr. Speaker, relating to the activities of the Standing Committee on Education pursuant to Standing Order number 561B for the period between 14th of October 2022 and 30th March 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 561B to make a statement relating to the activities of the Standing Committee on Education for the period between 14th of October 2022 and 30th March 2023. Honorable Speaker, the Standing Committee on Education is established under Standing Order 2228-3 of the Senate Standing Orders and is mandated to consider all matters related to education and training. During the period under review, the committee held a total of 24 sittings, during which it considered 3 bills, 11 statements, 1 public petition, and tabled 1 report. 1 bills. Honorable Speaker, during the reporting period, the committee considered the following 3 bills. A, the County Vocational Education and Training Bill 2022. Honorable Speaker, the County Vocational Education and Training Bill 2022 was referred to the committee on the 8th of November 2022 following its introduction in the Senate by way of first reading. The committee facilitated public participation pursuant to the provisions of Article 118 of the Constitution and Standing Order 145.5 of the Senate Standing Orders, and prepared its report, which was subsequently tabled in the Senate. B, the Learners with Disabilities Bill 2023. The Learners with Disabilities Bill 2023 was referred to the committee on 7th March 2023, and the committee consequently facilitated public participation and has prepared its report, which is currently undergoing consideration and will be tabled in the Senate this week. C, the Kenyan Sign Language Bill 2023. Honorable Speaker, the Kenya Sign Language Bill 2023 was introduced in the Senate on 22nd March 2023 and thereafter stood committed to the Committee on Education pursuant to the provisions of Article 118 of the Constitution and Standing Order 145.5 of the Standing Orders of the Senate. The committee has invited interested members of the public and stakeholders to submit their representations on the bill for consideration during preparation of its report. 2 statements. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the reporting period, 11 statements were sought from the committee. and the committee considered and concluded 7 of these statements. In considering the said statements, the reports and responses received by the committee were shared with the respective senators who were also invited to attend and participate in the committee meetings. Honorable Speaker, the committee is currently considering the following 4 remaining statements and will conclude within the next 2 weeks. The reversal of delocalization of teachers policy in Embu County by the Teacher Service Commission sought by Senator Mundigi. B, scholarships on education programs between countries in Kenya and academic institutions outside the country sought by Senator Samson Cherargei. C, status of Kaimosi Friends University sought by Senator Geoffrey Osotsi. D, credibility of a course offered to Kenya immigrant workers by the NITA sought by Senator Tabitha Mutinda. Number 3, petitions. Honorable Speaker, 1 petition regarding the 1997 to 2007 retired teachers' claims was referred to the committee on the 8th of March 2023 and is currently undergoing consideration. The committee has received submissions from the petitioners and has identified and invited key stakeholders to a meeting with the committee to deliberate on the petition. The committee will conclude on this matter within the coming 2 weeks, prepare its report and respond to the petitioner in line with the provisions of the standing orders. Number 4, committee induction and stakeholder engagement. Honorable Speaker, the committee conducted its induction retreat between 6th and 10th February 2023 and met with the stakeholders drawn from the Ministry of Education in order to understand education sector policy directions for each state department and agency, identify legislative gaps and priority areas for the 13th Parliament. Next, the committee further met with non-state actors and development partners to acquaint itself with their roles and functions in the implementation of the education sector policy and legal framework. During other engagements with stakeholders, the committee also received submissions and views on different legislative and other business under its consideration. 5, county oversight visits. Honorable Speaker, the committee is scheduled to conduct county oversight visits during the recess in May to add to the evidence gathered during consideration of different legislative business that have been brought to its attention. Mr. Speaker, notably, the committee will be seeking to confirm the reports received from the Council of Governors and the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, SRC, on the plight of ECDE teachers and caregivers in the countrywide. The committee believes that these county visits will also provide first-hand evidence and avail an opportunity for extended public participation. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, I wish to thank your office and the office of the Clerk of the Senate for the continuous support extended to the committee in the conduct and execution of the mandate. Lastly, I wish to thank the members of the committee for their diligence and contributions during committee activities. I thank you, the perfect example of keeping time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senators. Before I give members time to make comments on those 3 statements by the chairs of those standing committees, allow me to make the following communication. Honorable Senators, I would like to acknowledge the presence in the Speaker's Gallery this afternoon a visiting delegation from the United States of America. They are in the Senate as guests of Senator for Makueni County, Senator Daniel Manzo, MP. Honorable Senators, I request each member of the delegation to stand when called out so that you may be acknowledged in the Senate tradition. These are Griffith Morgan, Member of Congress, Virginia State. Sarah Jacobs, Member of Congress, California State. Janti Soripto, CEO, Save the Children. Griffith Hillary, Member of the delegation. Glenson Christie, Member of the delegation. And Loz Arion Nichelle, Member of the delegation. Honorable Senators, on behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, I extend a warm welcome and wish you a fruitful visit. I will allow the Senator from Makueni to say a very brief word of welcome, and also Senator Ledama. Very brief, senators.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are very delighted to welcome this team. There's a bigger team, Mr. Speaker. There are 26 of them, and yesterday went to Turkana County, particularly Kakuma camp. They are in a mission in the country to promote education and especially disadvantaged children. That's why they are accompanied by the CEO of Save the Children Fund of the United States. In fact, Mr. Speaker, I'm a beneficiary of Save the Children Fund UK, which took me to school through Saray Boys Center, then be fundraised by Princess Anne. And they are concentrating on the plight of the children and their education in the Kakuma camp and any other camps in the country, and any other disadvantaged children who deserve education, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the congressman from Virginia is in the Committee of Energy in the Congress, and Sarah, who is a Congress lady from California, is in foreign relations. And the congressmen and women have teamed up with those other organizations so that they can do something for Africa and for the children of Africa and the rest of the world in relation to education as their passion. And they also have visited Masai Mara and are going to be here for a few more days and will visit other places. Recently, Senator Chris Coons was in town, and I was lucky to host him in one of the occasions for dinner, and you know he did a lot of work in the bipartisan process we are looking at the country. If you look at the current congressman and congresswoman, they are also from two different political parties. One is a Republican, the other one is a Democrat, and they are very bipartisan, even the way they conduct activities when they are serving the nation and serving the world. So, Mr. Speaker, I take this opportunity to welcome them, and I'm sure one or two other senators will join us as we have a cup of tea after this so that they can interact more. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I join you and my colleagues in welcoming the two Congress persons from the United States of America to this great Republic of Kenya. I'm very happy that you're working with Save the Children. I'm aware and I'm actually very conversant with the work that they do. And I'm very happy that you got a chance to visit the Masai Mara. I represent Narok County, which is with the greater Masai Mara Game Reserve. I'd like to welcome you again to consider assisting young girls and boys from the Masai Mara region, from Narok County. We're heavily affected by the drought, which has completely devastated homesteads, and it's a big challenge for us. And I hope that when you're here, you can be able to also visit Kajiado County and see how they've been greatly affected. I requested to welcome you because America is my second home. And I know the amount of work that you do, and to see two congresspersons from the Republican Party and the Democratic Party working together is something which is going to assist us a lot here in learning to be bipartisan. Just like the United States, the Senate of the Republic of Kenya and the National Assembly are growing heavily apart to be two different distinct bodies. We represent the interests of our counties. They represent the interests of their districts or their constituencies, which I'm sure you represent. It's a bit different how we represent people here. Our term is about 5 years. I know yours is about 2 years, but we do the same work. So enjoy your time here in Kenya, and I hope that you will be able to send more good things about Kenya and have more foreigners, especially from the foreign committee, come to Kenya. Kenya is a good country. I also serve in the Energy Committee in the Senate, and I'm happy that we can be able to relate. Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Chiranke. Senator Enoch. Yeah, your comments on the reports, the 3 reports that have been read out.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the chairman, the Committee on Agriculture, where I sit. The Speaker, I asked to comment on this issue because, yes, it is true that Article 118 of the Constitution requires that committees of parliament conduct public participation in the process of handling bills and legislation. And the requirement there, Mr. Speaker, is direct to Parliament that those committees shall be facilitated to undertake public participation. Mr. Speaker, we need as a House to define that facilitation properly. Because the Speaker, in the process of dealing with one of those bills there, that committee almost landed into some trouble. We went into a place in my county, and because the people of Kitui love their senator, when they heard that we were coming for public participation on the Ndego bill, which they also grow in large numbers. As Speaker, a public participation that we expected would have maybe a maximum of 100 people. We ended up with more than 1,200 people. We processed the bill, but of course, as Speaker, you know, situations in our country are what they are. We had to find a way of taking care of the people that came for public participation. The Speaker, if the Senator of Kitui and the Chairman of the Agriculture Committee were not men of means, I don't know what would have happened to the image of the Senate on that day. So let us define that public participation for committees. When they go out to meet people for public participation, what kind of facilitation do we need to afford to the committee so that the image of the Senate is also not dented? On the statement, the report by the devolution committee, and the chairman is gone, but let it just go on record. The Speaker is to insist that this House is the anchor of devolution. If we don't get it right here, then we won't get it right anywhere else. In that report, I would have wanted to hear the Speaker, and it's not late, they can do it in the second, the next report. Situations where the committee, suo motu, on their own motion, reach out to county governments. And you know, county governments, we talk about county governments, we talk about the executive and the assemblies. And the places to engage the Speaker for the benefit of the committee would be the COG. They should have a lot more conversations with the COG and the county assemblies forum, so that they understand what issues the assemblies and the executives are going through and see how to intervene before we get to levels of impeachment and other instances that may not paint devolution in very good light. So, Speaker, I thank you.
Senator Mungatana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to comment on the statement by the Committee on Agriculture. Mr. Speaker, my congratulations to the work they have done so far. But just a brief one and a quick one, Mr. Speaker. The committee omitted a very critical issue which I wanted to hear on. Mr. Speaker, like the previous honorable member who has spoken, I think the committees and the committee chairman, because they will read this on record, they need to know that we are very concerned as a Senate that a lot of money is remaining at the headquarters of the Ministry of Agriculture. And yet, agriculture is a devolved function, Mr. Speaker. We want to hear what efforts the chairman is making with his Committee of Agriculture to ensure that more money is coming down, because we have continued to have this complaint, we have continued to raise this concern, and where we can connect and put matters on record, Mr. Speaker, we are not seeing movement. It's not enough, Mr. Speaker, for the chairman to come and tell us we processed 2, 3, 4 bills, we did this and the other statements. What about their own suo moto movement to make sure that the anchor of agriculture is actually devolved, Mr. Speaker? 70% of the people of Kenya are employed in that sector. And these are in the counties, not in the towns. And we are not hearing much going on, Mr. Speaker, from their side. Mr. Speaker, we need to hear this in their next report. How have they engaged with the COG? How much money is coming down? And how are we benefiting in the counties, Mr. Speaker? In particular, rural counties like Tana River County, Mr. Speaker, we need the money to come away from the national government where the policymakers, and it should roll down